This podcast does pretty fucking good, man. It does. I used to think podcast was like a weird name. I was like, what's Podbean? What's a podcast? Remember Podbean? You've ever heard of it? Have you? I said that in a lazy way. I said that quite lazily. I was like, Podbean, you ever heard of it? Or heard of it? Whatever I fucking said. As opposed to framing it as a normal question. In the normal way. But yeah, it's fucking after midnight, which makes it, what time is it, Billy? It's fucking, I don't know, there's no one here named Billy. I'm just being obnoxious. It's 6 March 2020 TGIF. Thank God it's Friday. Thank God it's every fucking day of the week. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know, man. Well, I've already talked about it. Look, man, I'm a humble dude. It's just some people aren't real with themselves. You know what I mean? And I'm a real fucking dude. All I do is I just speak my mind and I get paid. People overthink shit, man. And it's fucking sad because, man, I've met so many talented people and I'm like, dude, if you just did this or that, and people don't know, because I told you the YouTube shit is weird. But in terms of the actual stats for the show, man, on some days, man, look, any given episode, 150 downloads, 200 or more on demand, listen. I'm a sneaky fucking G, okay? Not a bad G. I'm a good G. Yeah, I'm a good Grover. I'm gifted, man. I really am. And I'm a nice fucking dude. All around. And, man, I just keep it real, you know what I mean? And looking back, man, I just keep changing the prepositions, I was a kid. Some people don't know, man, that I actually started this routine, this whole comedy, shtick, sketch. I was just a bored kid, man. I was a bored kid. And I was invited to participate in a project at the University of Washington. And they told my mother, she was like, is he okay or is he weird? And they're like, no, ma'am. Rest assured, he's normal. He's an alpha male. He's just a bored prodigy. And I was like, dang. I guess that's the reality of it. And, man, I used to sit in my room. Imagine being a kid. No fucking internet. Doesn't exist. These kids now. Man, imagine taking the internet away from fucking these kids now, man. Take their smartphone away. Take their internet away. I wonder how they would behave. So there was no internet when I was a kid. Listen to all this shit that I've said on this fucking podcast. How many times have I referenced the internet? How many times have I used the internet? How many times have I used the Google Voice shit? Imagine a time when there was no goddamn fucking internet. Man, if you were to wean these kids off their devices, their fucking smart dumb phones, their dumb smartphones, and their goddamn fucking internet connections, I'm just saying. Someone's like, Grove, what if you were weaned off the internet and didn't have a dumb device? I just fucking told you, dude, I'm from the generation and the era where we didn't have the shit because it didn't exist, motherfucker. Yeah, that's when I actually started. I think I was 9. I think I was 9 years old when I started this show, C4CW. I just didn't know in the future it was going to be called C4CW. I just didn't know that I was going to be in a gang. And I didn't know that I always knew that I was going to work in government. I just didn't know that I was going to be in a street gang. I knew I was going to be a comedian. I knew I was going to be a comedian and a hero. I knew that. Yeah. I knew that I was going to do something big in government. And I knew that it involved technology. I didn't know that I was going to have to be in a gang first, though. That was crazy. That's crazy. Let's see. As a young remote viewer, not knowing that I was a remote viewer, what else? I always knew that I'd be on the East Coast. I always knew that. Love Sesame Street, man. Love that fucking show. Yeah. Yeah. I just, man, when I started my show, like I've talked about, because a lot of people don't know. Not everyone knows. This show actually started when I was like fucking 8 or 9 years old. And I had these nunchucks, these dowels. For those who don't know, non-native speakers and even native speakers, a dowel, like a cylinder, piece of wood. My grandfather had a wood shop and a metal shop, so I had access to it. Sadly, he passed when I was 4 years old, so I had his estate. You know, Prince and Pauper type shit, you know. Some people thought, oh, Grove, he must be from a broken home and from a poor family. Actually, I inherited my grandfather's estate when I was a child, and I grew up with quite a bit, actually. And had an uncle who was very well off and who was very gracious and very generous and very kind. And so, no, I was never without. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I feel bad for folks who were. I mean, look, my mother, man, she could have asked her parents for money, but she didn't. And so she raised us in the North Everett projects, like, until we were, like, 8 years old. Oh, no, yeah, so, no, okay. I was 9 years old, because that's when we bought the house. That's when we got the house. Next to G-Ma's, Grandma G's. Yeah, that's when the show started. Yeah, dude, I was not... C4CW fucking started when I was 9 years old. Man, and when I was growing up with my peers who were, like, very close to me, like my dear friends from childhood, I never knew some of them were going to become fucking anal retentive fucking assholes. You know what I mean? Like, I was very fond of my friends. I didn't care how overweight some of them were or not. If they were skinny as a rail and we poke fun at them because they were, like, super fucking skinny, Yeah, you're so skinny. You're so fatso. Right? Back then, people didn't shoot up schools, dude, and we didn't really mean any harm. No harm, no foul. People knew if they were too skinny or if they were too fucking fat. They knew it, and they took it, and they sucked it up. And they were men and women about it. But yeah, man, this chick from my school, dude, she, people get crazy. They're weird. If you smoke too much bud, man, it can cause psychosis, for those of you who don't know. I'm just saying, for those who don't understand marijuana and how it works, they see all the reefer madness movies, and they're like, yeah, marijuana, it cures cancer, and the government doesn't want people to know. Yeah, it probably does to some extent, but it can also cause cancer. So it's a double-edged sword, and it's like a gamble. And if you smoke it for too long, or for whatever reason, maybe just not even too long, if you fucking smoke it, it can cause psychosis, period. And, yeah. So some people just aren't the same people, man, who I grew up with. This chick, man, she was a very dear friend of mine. And then one day she just decided to hop up on fucking social media like it was the Twilight Zone. And she was like accosting me. You look so miserable. You look like you're so depressed. You're the most Mr. Negative person. And I'm like, well, you're being Miss Negative. You're being Miss Negative right now. I don't know where this is coming from. You look so angry and so mad at the world. And I was like, every photo that I have on Facebook, I'm smiling. Like every photo I have on fucking Twitter and like social media, like I'm smiling. Okay. This is at the time. And this is what she had. She doesn't know my other photos. She doesn't know I work in government. She doesn't know what I do. Her only frame of reference for me is that I had a skateboard. And then at some point I joined a gang, and then I was selling crack. And I was like, at odds with the local police, and I was part of a fucking posse, and we had like West Coast like shootouts and shit. You know what I mean? Like, she doesn't know that I'm not that dude. Like, kind of anymore. You know what I mean? Like, she doesn't know that I'm collegiate and that I'm a scholar and that I turned a new leaf and I went back, whatever that shit. But yeah, dude, I'm a good guy now. I'm not, and I was never really a bad guy. But she doesn't know that. So she's like talking all this shit, and I'm like, I haven't seen you in 25 years. What the fuck are you? I was at house parties with you and we had a great time, but now you're like, she's like, you look so angry and you're so mad at the world. And I'm thinking, and I'm racking my brain, like reeling, like falling out of my chair, laugh. I'm like, because I'm hanging out with super good looking people, man. And I felt bad for her because she's always been overweight. And apparently she's done something to her psychology where she misinterprets and misunderstands the world around her. And I'm like, no, dude, you see, it's the other way around. Like, here's a photo of me with like super hot Asian chicks, dude. Like, you see how they're groping on me and I'm right there and they're like pretty much hugging and kissing on me and we're all smiling. No. Fuck off. What are you seeing? What are you talking about? Like, I'm a baller, okay? And you're fucking out of your goddamn mind. And then, of course, she was quiet. But you see, that's what they do, man, is when you're successful, they want to turn it around. They want to change the narrative on you and say this insanely. Have you ever seen that movie Event Horizon? Okay, I don't want to ruin it for people who haven't seen it. It's like, dude, you grow up with these people. You go out of your way to, like, protect them and shield them from, like, the evils of the world. And you're like a knight in shining armor. Because I was, dude. I'm a charming fucking knight. Dude, I was super popular. Okay? And I'm not going to dial it back and say I wasn't. And I'm a humble... Listen, I'm not full of myself. I'm just an honest fucking guy. I was a sports star. I was a fucking G in my neighborhood when I was young. You know what I mean, dude? I've dated hella dope fucking chicks that are super smoking hot. Tens. And, dude, and the point is, and I say that humbly. And so then, these people who, when you reach escape velocity and you're outside their fucking known universe, and they just can't accept it sometimes, man. And so then they'll tell you some crazy shit. You're delusional. No, I'm actually a college honor student. It's on my permanent college fucking transcripts. You're crazy. You think you're a spy. I don't think I'm a spy. I work in U.S. intelligence. I've been paid to spy on people. So go figure, crazy motherfucking chick. You're so full of yourself. No, I'm actually grounded and down to earth and I have security credentials and that's why I fucking do what I do and you do what you do. You just think I'm crazy. I've been at government facilities and agencies and stuff. And I know it's hard for you to separate the old me from the new me because you don't even fucking know me. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about a quarter of a century, and the only thing you know of me that you think you know of me is that I'm that dude still out on that street corner peddling dope. But that's not for real anymore. You know what I'm saying? And they can't. It doesn't factor, man. It doesn't imprint. And so they want to say some negative shit to you. Like, you're back in junior high school, fucking middle school. You need to grow up. Well, I did, and I'm more mature than you are. I'm not in my comfort zone. I've traveled thousands of miles. I've traveled the equivalent of one time around the earth every year for the past 5 fucking years. and believe you me, I've worked in very hazardous conditions, okay? And I know you can't, rationalize that or like process or understand that because there's no frame of reference there for that. And you think but You're crazy, Grover. The government would never hire you. Actually, the government hires sociopaths. That's what the government looks for. We can't tell you that because then people will just go and be sociopathic and then want a fucking job. Listen, I can't mention the names of the agencies that I've been at, but certain agencies hire sociopaths. They actually look for that in personality traits. And you want to know something else that's interesting? I'm not even a sociopath. That's not why the government hired me. The government hired me because I'm a fucking master actor and I'm fucking fabulous at what I do. And I can turn it on and off. And I understand how this shit works. And people like you, who are very rude and disrespectful, you don't know how the fuck it works. Yeah, and it's really sad because you can't, you wanna still be nice to these people who you grew up with, those who are insulting and they just don't understand because the understanding's not there. But you have to admit that they don't know who you are, man, anymore, because they live in a little bubble microcosm and they don't know that you're actually a grown-up and that you've done shit that for those who are the condescending types, the shit they haven't done because they're still working in that little town, that little place. And listen, man, you can tell, man, from what I'm saying here that I'm a nice guy. Look, man, I'm not a mean-spirited dude. I try to make light of it, but there's some seriousness to it too, man. It's like, you travel, man. It really is rhyme travel, because when you travel through rhyme, it's all really fucking relative to the observer. You know what I'm saying? And the experiments have been done that the faster you travel, I'm talking about, gravitating toward that speed of light, right? When you look at velocity and distance and time, rate of change and all this kind of shit, all these different variables and factors, the faster you move in the direction going toward that speed of light, you actually age less. And so when you look back at those who are a little bit more stationary, a little bit more content in their little, bubble, in their little comfort zone, in their little, turtle shells, and they're still on that puerile shit. You're delusional. Grow up. You need to get a job. And I have a job. I own my own fucking shit. I am the boss. And I got my start working at U.S. government agencies. And I know you don't believe that and you don't understand that. And that's okay. Because we're friends from childhood. And you're a fucking asshole. So I forgive you for that, okay? I'm sorry that what you're projecting is really your true nature at this point. You've become a bitter, anal, fucking asshole. But I still love you, man. I'm Walter Grove.